Hi, good evening, or good morning, or good day, depending on where you are when you're watching this. This is Candlelight Restorative, and it's for 30 minutes. And today we're going to practice reclining pranayama. There are two parts of the yoga practice, which you likely know this, but let me just tell you briefly. There's two parts to the yoga practice. One is the yoga postures, which is asana, and the other is the yoga breathing, which is pranayama. And they really, best case scenario, best situation possible, is practice the two of them separately. I know there's lots of asana practice where you inhale, stand up, exhale, bend forward. Even sometimes with the Kundalini practice I teach, we move with the breath. But there's a deeper way to practice pranayama, and it really should be done separately from the asana practice. So that's what we're going to do today. And at the end, when practice is over, please don't do too much for a while. You know, if it's evening like it is right now as I'm teaching, evening for you that are here, it's good. Just have a quiet, peaceful evening and then go to bed. But if you have a day in front of you, take at least an hour or two would be better, where you're doing very little, not really even reading. So imagine even life. What is life if you're not doing very much, right? And you're living, you're actually in your day, and you're not reading and you're not eating. I mean, you can't eat, me too, but you're just being quiet. That will be the best for your health and for you to get the most benefits out of pranayama. So to begin, come to sitting, or to begin more formally, come to sitting. I do like you to sit up on some elevation under your buttocks because that tilts your pelvis slightly. You can sit cross-legged like I am, or however you want. It doesn't matter. I mean, however you want is comfortable, is best, is preferred. And then if you have some essential oil, put a few drops on the center of your palm. If you don't have oil, it's also okay. I want everybody to rub their palms together briskly, creating some heat. And if you have that oil, as you maybe already know, but I want to say it, and then it's dispersing it all through your palm and then making this really beautiful smell in the space that you're in. So you're also helping to create the space for you to really be in during your practice. It means you're creating this like environment for you to go more deeply within your practice. And then go ahead, you can bring your hands chest height in namaste position, and close your eyes all the way if you can. If it's disorienting, keep them open. And for just a very short time here in the beginning, I want you to be aware of how your body feels. Be aware of the outline shape of you and what's within that outline shape. And let your torso be long and extended upright. Allow your arms and legs to be relaxed. Now, I know your arms, hands are in a certain position, but let there be an ease to the positioning of your arms, relaxation there, and also soft, easy feelings in your legs, allowing the thighs to descend and for you to settle down onto the ground. And at the same time, extend your torso, lift your chest upright. Breathing freely, breathing also with awareness. And if you like some special prayer or hope or affirmation for yourself, something that's really just intuitively welling up for you, or maybe something you've already been working with, then go ahead and say that to yourself now. It's really a beautiful thing to do, to say a prayer, and then prayer can be in these other ways of that I mentioned, affirmation or whatever feels like the right verbiage for you to give to yourself, something that you know you're deserving within your soul, and believe that can be yours, or that can be your reality, or that can be your gift to someone else that you're maybe thinking of, but whatever it is. And then when you're finished with that, just go ahead and lower your hands, palms up over your legs. And then if your eyes are all the way closed, go ahead and open them in your own time. And you can sit how you are, you can move a little bit, but I want to explain to you what we're going to do. So you are going to lay down. This is reclining pranayama. The other way of pranayama would be sitting upright, but we're going to recline. It's a little easier. It's a better way to begin because it's complicated. Pranayama is a complicated practice. It's considered to be more complicated than any of the asanas. So what you need is to lay over some a prop so that your chest is open and lifted, and that your torso in general is open and lifted. So the ideal way to do this is to fold some blankets narrowly so that the blankets are like a little wider than your spine, but they're basically mimicking the spine. So sometimes you can get those pranayama bolsters where they're long and narrow. They're like bolsters, but they're long and narrow. If you have a bolster, you can use that as long as it's not too high, as long as it's comfortable. But if you have a blanket or blankets, you take them about this size, like this would be longer than my spine if it was upright. And then you fold them forward and back like an accordion style, forward and back a few times, so that you end up with this. Let me make sure you can see on the screen. You end up with this shape that's long like your spine. So you need some height. So I use 3 blankets here. These are kind of narrow, thin blankets. If you're using blankets like from your single bed or your double bed, you maybe only need 1. But anyway, accordion fold so they're even on both sides. Make a stack. And then you need another blanket, or even a pillow would be fine. You need something for your head. So fold this a few times, and this goes to the back end, right? Because I'm gonna this is the bottom of your spine here, more or less, and then your head is over there. So just set that up best you can. We can come a little closer. All right. So then wearing these, I wore white. I thought it might be easier, but like sometimes these yoga clothes are a little baggy. So look. Before you lie down, we're going to talk about the torso, because you're going to bring the breath into the different parts of the torso. So, yeah, I'll be ready. So I want you to note, you can use your hands right now, that you have the navel in the middle, right? And if you take your fingers along a line from your navel towards the sides of the body, you're going to hit the lower ribs. So the first section of your torso that I want you to be aware of when we practice the pranayama is the navel, lowest ribs, because that's all like the same line. And you're going to inhale here and exhale here, and I'll explain. But that's the part 1. And then the second part is the area below the breast. It's kind of the flat part of the front of the ribs. So that's how it actually was explained to me, when I was learning this years ago. It's like the flat part of the front of the ribs before the breast, underneath the breast. And then that's the second layer or level. The third is the chest, like the upper chest, right? The upper part of the chest, the upper lungs are here. This is 3, stage 3, step 3, third part, something like that. And then the very fourth is the collarbones. Way up there are the collarbones, which is an easy marker on the body, so I know you know that. So I just want you to be aware, which of course I'm going to say and talk to you the whole time. Navel, lowest ribs, that flat part of the chest, which also can be referred to as the eyes of the chest. I didn't say that earlier, but the eyes of the chest. Then the upper chest, and then the collarbones. Okay, that's all I'll say for now. So then you can join me with this. I'll come out after a bit, but you can join me or watch first and then come into this. So you're going to sit on the floor with your legs bent and the prop behind you, but not touching you. Very close, but not touching you. Hands behind you, and using some arm strength, press your hands into the floor and extend your torso. And there's still a little room between you and your props. That's because I want you to extend the torso and then lengthen back and over. So you're getting a lot of length in the torso as you lay down. And then the blanket is for the back of your skull. The buttocks on the floor, the props are right at the base of your buttocks, but your buttocks is on the floor, or I guess I want to say the base of the buttocks, maybe the top of the buttocks is more clear. And then the torso is extending over the props. Palms up at your sides. Let your legs be bent for a few moments. And I want you to be here relaxed or relaxing and being at ease as much as you can right from the beginning. If you feel like, oh, I want to extend more, you could come into it again. You could also lift your pelvis, tuck your pelvis a little bit, curl your tailbone between your legs and drop your buttocks down. That generally lengthens the low back. Tuck the shoulders under and palms up. And then when you have some awareness of your belly and your low back, and when those areas feel soft and relaxed, then you can straighten your legs one and then the other. So now you're reclining on the floor with something under your torso. Oh, I didn't mention, and I'm so sorry. I don't know if that's because I'm seeing you, Cynthia, but If you feel you'll be cold, then you need to put a blanket over you. I'm sorry, you'll have to get up and get that and then come back into this. Okay, so for a short time now, I want to talk you into or guide you into relaxation. It's not the pranayama yet, but right now, when you're ready, I want you to be aware of your arms and your legs and let them become totally quiet, totally passive. Allow them to be still and at ease. Let your mind be aware, or your mind's attention is absorbed in the awareness of your arms and your legs. Your arms and your legs are extending away from your torso and down towards the floor below you. Keep your mind's attention on your arms and legs and let them relax all the way. Included with the arms and the legs now, be aware of your hands and your feet, the fingers and the toes, relaxing, softening, releasing, and letting go. So that as your awareness is with the long limbs of your body, you're also including now your hands and feet, your fingers and your toes. And these areas are all releasing downwards towards the ground and gently extending away from your trunk. Allow yourself to breathe easily. Allow yourself to breathe naturally as you're relaxing, right? The breath will become easier. And as the breath becomes easier, more fluid, more soft, then the limbs will release more, relax more, be more empty. So those are the 4 limbs relaxing and letting go. As you're aware of your hands releasing and softening, notice the palms release. And as they release, they become thin. There's a thinness that comes to them. And as you relax your feet and your toes, also be aware of your Achilles tendon region and let those areas relax more, descend down. Gently carry your attention to the 5th limb, which is your neck and your head. The 5th limb. Let your neck and your head gently extend away from the shoulders. I mean, it doesn't really exactly extend away, but imagine there's length and release away from the shoulders through the neck and head. And then the neck and the head releases down towards the floor and towards the earth below. Allow the facial muscles to soften. Allow your forehead to be broad. Allow the forehead flesh from the hairline to the eyebrows to release down. And then relax the eyes and the eyelids and let the corners of the eyes release. Be aware of your cheeks and your lips and let them soften. Those areas, there's lots of muscles, so let them soften. And when you're ready, you can swallow. And swallowing will release the jawline all the way to the ears, even the inner ears. All 5 limbs very still, very relaxed. And then notice your torso. And you can include like the buttocks part of the body as the torso. So the buttocks is sitting or it's solidly placed. And then the torso, the rest of it is slightly lifted up over your prop. And allow the torso to be fully in your awareness. And notice the stillness and the quietness. And within the stillness, notice that there's movement because you are breathing. And how you're breathing right now is normal breathing. It's what's called normal breathing. You're just breathing. So whatever the breath is doing for you right now is your normal breathing at this time. So just very gently observe your inhalation and your exhalation that's naturally taking place. And keep the other parts of the body, the 5 limbs, very still, very quiet. And then when you're ready, when you understand what I'm describing to you that you are to do, then you can begin. But there's no rush. Right now, you're breathing and you're aware of your breathing. When you're ready, you're going to exhale the breath all the way. And when you inhale, you're going to inhale the navel. And as the navel area expands, the navel kind of thins and the sides of the navel extend out towards the sides of your body, which is where the line of your lower ribs are. So in an inhalation, you expand your navel, lowest ribs. And when you exhale, you're releasing the navel, lowest rib region back down into its neutral place. You fully exhale when you exhale. And then when you inhale navel, lowest ribs. And exhale, navel, lowest ribs, all the way out. So you can begin this as long as you're ready. And then I'm just going to add just one more thing to this part of the breathing. And that is after you exhale the breath all the way, and then you inhale navel, lowest ribs. At the top of the breath, I want you to retain the breath. So you're holding the breath in for the count of 2 or maybe 3, and then you're exhaling the breath through the ribs, the navel or navel rib region. So it's this lower part of your torso that you're expanding when you inhale. You're retaining the breath for the count of 2 or 3, and then you're releasing the breath in this area all the way down and all the way out. So I'd like you to do 2 or 3 more rounds of breathing, just like I mentioned. Even if you've already done it, do about 2 or 3 more rounds, and then just come back to your normal, regular breathing. Whole time, totally relaxing. After your rounds of 2 or 3 more from what I mentioned earlier, then it's just normal breathing. Just relaxing all the way, quiet limbs, soft facial muscles. And just stay in the space of breathing normally and being aware of your breathing. And then I'll tell you the next part, and you can begin whenever you understand fully what to do. So you're going to exhale the breath all the way, just like before, full exhalation out. And then you're going to inhale and expand the navel, lowest ribs with breath. And you're not going to fill yourself all the way up with breath. You're going to fill yourself like halfway up and then hold the breath for the count of 2 or 3. And after you count for 2 or 3 with that retained breath, you're going to continue the inhalation up the line of the rib cage to that flat part of the chest or the eyes of the chest. And then you're going to retain the breath again for the count of 2 or 3. And after that, you're going to exhale all the way out from the eyes of the chest, down and out through the navel, lowest ribs. You're not going to hold the breath or restrain it at all on the way out. It's just an easy, fluid exhalation all the way. When the breath is all the way out, you inhale the navel, lowest ribs, hold the breath for a count of 2 or 3, and then inhale up to the eyes of the chest. So you're breathing all the way in, all the way fully that you can to the eyes of the chest, retaining the breath, retention here for the count of 2 or 3, and then you exhale all the way out, down and out through the navel, lowest ribs. So you can begin anytime. I'm going to keep talking, but you don't have to breathe with the pace of what I'm saying. I'm just going to keep talking to support you in your practice. When you're ready, whenever that is, you're going to be aware that you're exhaling the breath all the way. And then as you inhale navel, lowest ribs. About halfway in with your inhalation, you stop the breath, you retain the breath for the count of 2 or 3. And then you continue the inhalation with that same breath all the way up to the eyes of the chest. Hold the breath here for the count of 2 or 3. And then you exhale all the way down, all the way out through the navel, lowest ribs. You're just going to do 3 rounds or so, maybe 4 the most, no more. And then you're going to go back to regular, normal, easy, natural breathing. Natural, easy, smooth breathing. So whenever you get to the smooth breathing, if you haven't already, just stay there. And we're just going to do one more part when you're ready. Breathe regularly right now, though. So when you're ready to begin the next part, you exhale the breath all the way. Then you inhale navel, lowest ribs, about a third of the way in, and hold the breath with a count of 2 or 3, as you know. And then continue with that same breath up to the eyes of the chest and hold. And if after you hold for the count of 2 or 3, you have more room to inhale without strain, you inhale and you bring the breath up to the chest, really upper chest. And you hold the breath there for the count of 2 or 3. And then you exhale all the way down and all the way out. And you can take a breath or 2, just regular breaths before you begin again. You don't have to, but you will probably find that you'll be more relaxed and have a deeper experience of the inhalation with retention if you take a breath or maybe 2 between each round. So you can begin anytime. And total, again, you should just do about 3 or 4 rounds of the inhalation with retention all the way up to the chest, upper chest height. You can begin, if you haven't already, when you're ready, by fully exhaling the breath and then beginning with the inhalation. whenever it is that you finish up, it's back to that regular, normal breathing. So you're not, when you're finished with the practice of the inhalation with retention, you're no longer directing the breath. Whereas when you are inhaling and holding, etc., you are very specifically directing the breath. But finishing up, and that is, you're back to normal, regular breathing, keeping your awareness on the breathing, but not directing it. And allow yourself, when you're finished, back to normal breathing, that you're very relaxed, that you're not as interested in really focusing on the breath. It's just gently there with your awareness. The quietness, the emptiness from the practice of pranayama is mostly where your mind is. But to help you stay there, there's an awareness or a focus, light and gentle, on the breath and on the relaxation in the body. If you're comfortable where you are, stay as you are. If you feel like you prefer to be flat on the floor for the last bit of Shavasana, then just roll to your side. You don't even have to open your eyes. Roll to your side and then remove your prop and then just roll back onto the floor. If you'd like to stay in Shavasana longer than this short class, feel free. Of course, feel free. But to come out now, or when you do come out, first, it's really a small movement of wiggling the fingers and toes. It's really just so that you can have a little movement in the body, and then you can stop that movement and just be still again. And you could turn your head a little from side to side so that that part of your body is a little bit moving, or it has a little bit of movement in it, and then let it be still again. You can bend the left leg so the left foot's on the floor, and you roll over to the right. When you do that, this prevents you from putting any pressure on your heart. The heart's on the left side. So when you relax deeply, really deeply like that, you want to roll to the right. and rest on your side for a few moments. So you roll to the side and rest on your side because you need time to move yourself from where you brought yourself back into your room, your life. And then when you're ready, you can roll all the way over, use your arms. The reason people say in yoga class, use your arms is so that you don't strain your low back. And usually it's that because the abdominals like relax, so they're not going to engage as much. Just using some arm strength and the torso strength to lift yourself up to sitting. Hands palms down on your legs. Your legs can be however you want. Close your eyes. Be aware of the peaceful balance in your body and in your mind from the practice of pranayama. If you want, you can recall the prayer or the wish or the intention or the affirmation or the gift to a friend. Sorry if I'm talking too much. Whatever it was in the beginning, you could remember again. I think what it is about prayer, well, I'm just going to use the word prayer. You can fill in whatever word you want. I think what it is it's a way that we can believe in ourselves more, feel like we deserve more, feel like we're special because we are. We are special. We do deserve more. We do deserve it all the good things. Nothing bad happens when good things happen with good intention. And the more good we can bring to this world, the better. Because the world needs more good, as you know. The world is really made up of good. We have the polarities, but we can bring in good to our lives because I know that you will only do good with it. So please don't do too much now. Even what I just said was maybe a little too much info, but anyway, I said it, so there you have it. You can bring your hands together at your sternum chest. You can chant Om with me one time, and then I'm gonna make chime sound, and we'll end. So the sound of Om is on the exhalation. To begin that, inhale. Om. You can lower your head if you like. Namaste.